On today's DNVR Broncos podcast, we are talking about, is there another move or two that the Broncos will make before training camp starts? Plus, we're starting our series of breaking down each game this season. So we're starting off with Broncos versus the Titans. Plus, we're joined by our mystery guest in just a couple minutes, and it all starts now. DNVR Broncos podcast. We are live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your local Front Range Toyota stores inside the DNVR bar on this overcast day in June. But it's all sunny on the show today. Ryan Koenigsberg to my left, Henry Chisholm to my right. We got Dion leading the show behind the camera, and Zach Stevens rocking and rolling with you. Fellas, we just got to dive right in because today is a big show. In 14 minutes, we are joined by a mystery guest. None of us have any idea who it is. Dion,
do you think you know who it is?
I know it's one of four people, I think. Like, I don't actually know, but
I have an idea.
I would be shocked if it's not one of four people in my mind.
The four people on the Mount Rushmore of the Broncos? Is that what you were thinking?
That's exactly where we're going.
So Yahir isn't obviously here today, and he's the one who planned the call-in. What if he is the one calling in?
That would be very self-indulgent.
Yeah.
We were told to go like big with
That's my theory.
So yeah, he would be putting himself on a pedestal. I like that theory.
Yeah.
Henry. Before we dive into the Broncos talk.
Also, it's pedestal, not pedestal.
How do you know?
Because
interesting counterpoint.
I've never seen the letter A make an ooh sound.
Yeah.
But it's a stool.
No,
it's not.
No.
Yeah, you're sitting on a stool.
Generally
it could
standing.
Be used as a stool.
Generally standing.
You're putting yourself on a pedestal, and that's what like gives you an extra jump up.
Nope. A pedestal is like something that holds things.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I like pedestal more. I think it makes more sense.
Like a tripod is closer to a pedestal than a stool.
But I'd rather be on a stool than a little dinky tripod.
Yes.
Well, the next time say I'll put myself on a stool.
Yeah.
No.
Put myself in a high chair.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah. And then I just get, treated like a baby in a good way. Everything's just given to me. So
Surely.
I like that.
Surely.
So Henry's going with Yahir is our special guest.
I think he would do it.
Where are you going, Ryan?
I don't want to I'm afraid to guess. And
I think it's Peyton Manning.
Okay.
And John Elway together.
Ooh.
They're
on the course at Cherry Hills right now, and they're sharing a cart.
Yeah.
We're going to tap in with them.
Dead serious. Yahir did try to get Peyton Manning and said he had one connection. It didn't go through.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the effort is really all that counts.
Totally.
Yep.
Totally. So you don't want to make a guess.
I'm guessing that he went through Todd Davis to try to get Peyton Manning and then fell back to Todd Davis.
Oh, okay. Todd would be a good call.
Todd would be awesome. That's where my initial guess went right when I heard we're doing this mystery guessing, and here was like, I'm gonna get him. I was like, oh, it's gonna be Todd. That's gonna be awesome. He has not told me anything, so I don't know. I'm veering toward a number 27 running back for the Broncos.
J.K. Dobbins.
So probably no shot. It could be Dobbins.
We'll see.
Is there who else? What other number 27 running backs have they had?
That's all I can remember.
Maybe
Atwater occupied the number for a long time.
That's true.
Maybe
that's
Damari's
joining. Williams
maybe
to my
Damari's
childhood.
joining the show, and he's announcing
converted.
that he's changing to running back.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't think of many other 27 running backs. That's kind of crazy.
Well, you already said it, so.
Yeah. But you would think that the Broncos would have had more.
Is 27 an offensive or a defensive number, or is it truly?
It's a true hybrid.
Yeah, I mean, because there's Atwater, Darren Williams,
Jesse.
That one is like a true split. People say like Charlie, and it's like no, that's for boys.
Alex is a pretty even split because you got Alexandra,
you
got
do
Alexander.
But I think there are enough Lexis Like the Alexandra skew Lexi at this
Lexi?
point. There are fewer woman Alexes, I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong though.
No, I would agree. When you say Alex, I
Yeah.
say, okay, we got to
I think it
dive into
leans that way.
Broncos talk because
Ah.
we got a lot to get to right now, even though that was a good conversation. Yeah, guess in the Toyota chat right now. We have some good guesses, some jokes, and
Which one's a joke?
also some good guesses. Why don't you say it?
I don't see any jokes. I see all serious guesses.
I
lot of good
like it. I
ideas.
like it. Keep the guesses, jokes, whatever you want to call them.
What number
coming
was Sue
right
Cravens?
now?
21.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so are there any moves? We are 5 weeks away from the Denver Broncos reporting to training camp from today. This is when the media barbecue will be in 5 weeks from now. Leading up to that point, Henry, are there going to be any final moves that happen before training camp starts?
My answer is no. I think there are some interesting names, but I think that I don't think they actually make any more moves.
What names? Throw them out.
I mean, Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper are still sitting out there. Like, those are guys who, if they would have signed them in March,
Okay, Benny
it would have been
Fowler.
exciting. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, Benny also still out there.
Also, nose ball.
It's true.
But at this point, you'd think those guys would be cheap. There might be somebody left who still believes in Gabe Davis. He's still out there. I would much rather they go the other way. But I mean, I think they like their receivers. But also, if you think Amari Cooper has another 1,000-yard season in him, you couldn't pass up on that.
Man, the fall from grace for Gabe Davis. He
Yeah.
was it 2 years ago? He was paid big time by
Yeah.
Jacksonville,
Yeah.
and was supposed to be like this breakout star just a year before for Buffalo, and they moved on from him. Now the Jags moved on from him. That's kind of crazy, but yeah, there are all those veteran receivers out there.
I would
Josh Allen
never
Merchant.
pay a second fiddle receiver who played really well with an elite quarterback.
Yeah.
Unless I also have an elite quarterback.
Especially downfield speed guy with Josh Allen.
Yeah. So it's like you got Emmanuel Sanders.
Right, that's what I
He
was
was playing
thinking.
with Ben Roethlisberger, but you had Peyton Manning, so
Right.
it's an upgrade.
Right.
But if a
As
guy's
Emmanuel
playing
will tell
really
you.
well, with Josh Allen, and then you have Trevor Lawrence, like that's just he's gonna be worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, Gabe Davis is always
was.
open 40 yards downfield. It's like, well, yeah, a lot of receivers do that. There's just very few quarterbacks who make that throw.
Yep.
God, remember the hope that he gave everyone outside of Kansas City, though, when he scores a touchdown with 13 seconds left in the AFC Championship game.
That was like an all-time playoff run.
Okay, that's what pisses me off about the narrative that like Josh Allen just can't get it done in the big game. It's like, what else did you want him to do? Do a touchdown with 13 seconds left to win the game.
I should have done it with 3 seconds left, I guess. I agree with you.
Literally insane.
but, yeah.
Make
Yeah,
one
200
play
y-
on defense.
200 yards for Gabe Davis in that game.
3 touchdowns, right?
4.
4 touchdowns to it. No wonder
Yeah.
people thought like he was
Yeah.
next coming of Terrell Owens or something. Okay, so I like those names. Ryan, would you bite on one of those veteran receivers?
The receiver room's really crowded right now.
I think that's the thing.
So, we talked about with Baldy that one day rep stealing. If you go get like Amari Cooper, you're really stunting Pat Bryant's growth.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the right thing to do at this time because you're saying like we're in a Super Bowl window. We're not worried about people's growth. But what happens if Amari Cooper's fallen off a cliff and he gets 600 yards and you're like, Pat Bryant probably could have gotten us those 600 yards.
And that's why the Broncos aren't going to do it, is because Sean Payton still likes this room more than anyone else. And we've seen it from his actions. The biggest investment they made in this receiver room, when a lot of people, understandably so, thought they needed a big boost, was a 3rd-round pick. And that's all they did. 3rd-round pick that was initially thought to be a reach. A lot of people, a lot of draft experts thought he was a day 3 pick. Broncos make that pick. And so far, it looks like it's a good pick very early on in the process. But I just don't see Sean going out there and stunting the growth of any of these guys, because I think that Sean thinks that this receiver room can get more than an Amari Cooper, than a Gabe Davis, than a Keenan Allen. So where the names are enticing, I just don't think the Broncos are going to have any interest in that. What I think the move that could happen before training camp starts, and it's maybe not exactly what Henry meant when he threw out this topic, but it is a move, is extensions could happen. And we will talk about those extensions, probably mini podcasts during the summer, because there are a lot to talk about. But those are moves that could be made, but those are internal moves. So outside moves, no, I think the Broncos are done. I think J.K. Dobbins was that final move.
Is there a potential Evan Mathis move at center?
I don't know about
No.
Nobody stood out. I thought the tight ends, Gerald Everett probably isn't a good enough
Wasn't
blocker.
Evan Mathis cut
Oh, that's true.
from Arizona or something right before the Broncos picked him up?
Yeah, because he was there after he was with the Eagles, right?
Or maybe it was the Eagles.
I think the Cardinals might have been between.
Okay. Either way, that's like something I could see. It's just like maybe like a long-time vet center on a bad team who has a big savings opportunity for that team to let him go, and they let go this like 37-year-old center, and the Broncos are just like, we can't pass up on the opportunity to upgrade at this position.
I'd shoot for like 34-year-old, but I like where your head's at.
It's just a 1-year thing.
Yeah.
I think they really like their center position, their starter and their depth. But I see where you're coming from. Like, if you were to go through the offensive line, there's maybe one weak spot or questionable spot.
Well, I always just come back to Chris Sims. Biggest group of big effers they can find.
yeah.
They have it at every position but center.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
very
They
true.
literally found the biggest effers they could find at every other position.
Yep, it's very true. Okay, I heard the bell. That means we've got our mystery guest here. And before we talk to our mystery guest, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Empire Today, where if you want the best flooring today. If you want the best flooring, you got to check out our friends over at EmpireToday.com/DNVR to get $350 off your floors. Look, everyone needs floors. That's a non-negotiable. You have to have a floor. And why don't you just get the best floor out there and go to the experts, because that's all Empire Today does. There's big box stores that do floors, roofs, walls, probably furniture in there as well. No. Empire just says, we're just going to be a master at one thing, and that is floors. From carpets to floors, they've got it covered. We've had Empire in here for a couple of years, and we tell you every single time these floors look brand new, despite having some good wear and tear on them. They look perfectly new right now. So if you want $350 off, and you can get a virtual floor looks to see what your floor is going to look like without even installing it, you can go to EmpireToday.com/DNVR, and for $350 off, use that code DNVR. That's EmpireToday.com/DNVR for full details.
And shout out to Factor. I know that Ryan is a big Factor guy.
Yep, just got my box this morning.
I'm jealous. Every time I get one of these Factor reads, I think about it. Or honestly, every time you make one for lunch, I think I should still be doing this. And back when I was just a single man living alone, all I ate was Factor. It was like
And
multiple
Lunchables.
a day. Yeah, no, Lunchables for snacks. But those Factor boxes, they're so easy. You can put them in the microwave. I always put them in the oven just because, I don't know. I just was willing to take the 20 minutes.
I'm just never going to wake up early enough to like prepare myself a nice, healthy lunch. So
Yeah.
Factor just does it for me.
And then you go up there
nice.
and like make your little lunch, and I just like find a bag of Lay's in the thing and like find like a granola bar. On like a big day, I might walk over and buy like a $15 sandwich. Factor is the way to go. Factor is the best. Hopefully you're convinced, because I was convinced myself. They've got all sorts of different options, whether you're looking for like healthier stuff, high protein stuff. You can check it out if you want to start your day right with Daily Greens by Factor Form. Factorform.com/DNVR to get 40% off plus free shipping on your first order. That's factorform.com/DNVR for 40% off plus free shipping.
I'm a little nervous right now. We've got a mystery guest joining, and none of us know. All right, we've made our kind of guesses out there. Let's bring him on. Let's
do it.
see who it is. The mystery guest.
Oh,
Sean!
no,
Let's go! Yes, not only is it one of my favorite people, I was right, man. Number 27, running back for the Denver Broncos.
You were right, Zach?
Oh,
He
yeah.
was
So
right.
we need to break this down. First of all, hi, no, Sean.
What's going on, fellas?
Second of all, what did you do here? How'd you figure this out?
So initially my thought was, it's going to be Todd because of the connection. And then I thought, I don't know if Todd wants to like come on right after, like the second day into summer break for him.
Yeah.
Sean Payton sees that Todd's coming on a podcast. I'm like, maybe Todd doesn't want to do that. So then I thought, okay, Yahir. Who does Yahir just love? And I was like, it's no Sean, man. It is no. We all love no Sean, but especially Yahir. And I was like, this is got to be it. Plus, no Sean. I saw you out of practice a couple of weeks ago too. You're dialed in.
Yeah, dialed in, definitely was good to go out there, see the fellas go out there and work, and and catch up with some of the old players as well. So it was good. It was a good day.
Man, it's a good day to talk to you, No Sean. And I mean, it's not only do we love you, our listeners love you, but there's probably no better guest to have on right now than to talk about a number 27 running back that just joined the Broncos. And actually, we got so many running backs to talk to you about. I got to get your thoughts on J.K. Dobbins joining the Broncos, coming off his best season of his career last year, wearing number 27 in Denver. What do you think about J.K.?
No, I think it was a great addition to that running back room, right? A guy that's has some plaques on the wall as far as, experience in the league, right? And you mentioned it, he had a good season last year, and he seemed to have some good seasons years prior as well. But, the injury bug has gotten him a little bit, right? But adding to that room, I think, is definitely a great addition, along with RJ Harvey, of course, and some of the other guys in that room as well. But I think we definitely needed some depth in there. I think we were all, disappointed, I guess you can use the word disappointed in the running game last year and how they used some of the guys, right? But at the end of the day, they made the right additions this year, and we'll see how it works. We have a really, really good, offensive line that's coming back, right? That's gelled really well last year. Now, again, coming in for the next year, building that bond with each other, right? So I'm excited to see what these running backs can do. And then if Sean can actually do what he wrote on his call sheet that one time, run that thing. We'll see if that happens. But, they have the right pieces. They're making the right steps forward, and we'll just see how that goes.
So you approve of him wearing your number 27?
Oh, see, we can't. I don't think we can say my number.
Okay.
I don't think we could go that far, right? It was some great 27s that wore that number for this franchise, right? But yeah, it's a good number. He'll look good in it, and you just got to go out there and represent.
No,
I
Sean,
really
you're
wanted my
no
number.
Sean Moreno. That's your number, baby.
I think Steve Atwater might have something to say
That's
about
true.
that.
Okay, from a running back position on the offensive side.
Yeah, there
You
you
see an
go.
Oklahoma
True.
drill.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, see who wins in
I
that.
really wanted that 2-4, my college number, but of course I couldn't get 2-4 when I got here.
Did you
Oh, my
ask?
goodness. No, I didn't even ask. No.
Oh, I
He
guess
was
he was
on
here.
the
Of
team.
course. Yeah, no.
It's like, Champ, are you done
It's
with
like,
that?
hey, future first ballot Hall of Famer, what do you think about
Right, Georgia on Georgia, come on.
Yeah, there you go.
No, Sean, I'd love to hear what you thought of the selection of RJ Harvey in the draft.
Yeah, we all know that or saw that RJ, was explosive in college. I think at the time, for me, I thought it was just too early. I felt like there was some other pieces out there that we could have, picked up on and then maybe got an RJ later. But who knows what would have fell and what would have happened in the draft. Someone else could have picked them up, right? So you do have to, go with whatever your board says, right? Take that player that you really like, right? And that's what the Broncos did, right? So you can't really say much about it. He is a really, really good player. I'm excited to see what he can do for this offense this season. You see him in camp working on his hands and things of that nature. And that's something that you're really going to have to do, as a running back, is catch that ball out the backfield. And then we'll see how he does in pass protection as well. But at the end of the day, Sean talked about it. Sean Payton talked about it. They'll put him in the right positions to make sure that, he's not going up against those big linebackers over and over again, right? Getting them out in space and using his skill set. So, although, I was kind of disappointed at the time where I'm like, dang, that was super early, man. Why why we go for that? I am excited to see what he can do, and he is a really, really good player. So we'll see how it goes.
Quick follow-up. As someone who obviously came into the league as a highly coveted draft pick and was expected to contribute to an NFL team immediately, what were the biggest challenges for you as a rookie coming in and like having those expectations, trying to get ready to play week one a lot?
Yeah, man, I think it's really just getting in that playbook, right? Of course, it's a new scheme, a lot of different terminology, and then the play call is super long, right? You're like, what the hell? But then you just waiting on your time, your portion of the play to come up, and you just going through that. And more so maybe the speed of the game as well. Even though, from the SEC, baby, we're good with the speed, but still adjusting to the speed of the game. And even the defensive tackles and all the defensive line are running the same speed. You know what I mean? Or getting there, running sideline to sideline, and just being precise. But I think those were the biggest keys, man. I was a physical back, and a back that prided myself in pass protection, so that wasn't too much of a big deal for me. But really, it's just getting caught up with the playbook and going out there and competing. At the end of the day, that's what all it is, man. There's going to be veterans and older people in front of you, right? That if you don't like to compete, you might have a real tough time, right? I love to compete. It don't matter what it is, chess. It don't matter if we going out there playing hopscotch basketball. It don't matter. I want to win, right? At the end of the day. So, bringing that competitive nature every day to practice, I think is a big thing for all these young guys coming into the game.
Well, you're definitely winning this interview and joining us, Sean. And I want to piggyback off what Ryan said, because from an outside perspective, a common thing that's thrown out is it's running back is one of the easiest positions to transition from college to the NFL. And I would agree with that because of what we've seen. But is that true from an actual running back who's done it, especially a guy like Ryan said? No, Sean, you were a first-round pick. You were relied on from going from college to the NFL quickly. Is it one of the easier transitions to happen?
I don't know, man, because I don't play those other positions, right?
That's
so
true.
I feel like they all have their own challenges, But I always we talked about Todd earlier, but me and Todd always go back and forth because I'm like, bro, I could play linebacker. All you do is read and react. And what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. So, we always have that back and forth. But I think every position has its challenges. But as far as, running back, I think pass protection is a big thing. You got guys coming from all over the place at different sizes. I mean, that is a big step up depending on, what school you're coming from, right? So pass protection is you're another lineman out there. You're another form of a lineman, and, tight end. So I think that's a big jump for a lot of guys coming out of college, is just getting adjusted to not only the speed, but being able to stop the charge of a 250 pound linebacker running full speed downhill at you. It takes a different kind of breed to sit there and take that and stop that charge. So I think that's a real big, key when it comes to the running back position.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't need to stand in the pocket for that.
Yeah.
No. I didn't like it.
Is that all it is? Like, how easy is like the mental side of pass protection? Like, is it difficult to make those reads and it's just the difficulty of standing up there and making the block, or does it take time to figure out where exactly you want to go?
Well, it is all leverage. It's all about, stepping into the pocket and making them take the long way around. You don't want to take those head up, shots too many times, right? But sometimes you do have to step in the pocket. The line is flaring out and you got to step it up in the middle and stop that charge. And we couldn't cut the guy, especially in the middle of the line, because that guy can then go over, fall on the quarterback's legs and things of that nature. So you do got to stop the charge. So a lot of that is mental, right? But there's some technique to that as well, where you can stop a guy, sometimes if you have to use your shoulder and things of that nature, right? So there's different techniques you can use, but a lot of it is mental. And, the physical thing is kind of there, but you could kind of get away with some different techniques to stop the charge if you're not a big back, so.
Before the signing of J.K. Dobbins, the Broncos running back room was super, super young. I'm curious if you think the addition of him and how valuable you think that may be for RJ, just to have a proven vet in the room that he can kind of learn from and glean from.
Yeah, of course. I mean, when I came into the league, I had a Correll Buckhalter, guy came from the Eagles, a guy that was in the league, like 10 years before I got there. I remember playing with him in Madden, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm with Correll Buckhalter or Lamont Jordan and some of these older guys that came in into that running back room, and it definitely pushes you, right? Gives you someone that, like you said, that knows the game, that can you can take pointers from. I mean, there was always times where I asked Correll, like, how'd you see it here? He'll explain it, and just that work ethic as well. Coming into the league, even though Bobby Turner was our running backs coach at the time, and of course he was on us about finishing and stuff like that. But seeing like Correll and some of these older guys like finish after the play. It's so small when you're thinking about it, right? It's like, oh, they're just doing their job. Nah, but like finishing 20 yards down the field after the play, that shows you that mentality. That shows you their work ethic and stuff like that to their craft, right? So seeing older guys do that definitely gives you a charge as a younger guy. And, you can bounce this different things off of them because they've seen a lot in the game. And Dobbins is one of those guys, one of those running backs, right? So I think it's definitely a plus for all the guys in that room, and not only for RJ, but for the other guys that was there as well. Bringing these two new running backs into the room is like, bro, damn, I got to step up my game. I might not be here, or I might not see the field as much as I did last year. So I think everyone's sense of urgency, a sense of just like, yo, it's time to compete and get out there. It heightens when you add a vet, and then when you add a young guy like RJ into the room.
I love that, No Sean. So a lot of the chat is just all of the chat is loving your insight. One person even said that their son's first jersey was a No Sean Broncos 27 jersey,
Crazy.
which is awesome. The chat really appreciates you joining us. We really appreciate it. Someone also said, fantastic interview from a great player. We love you, No Sean. My final question maybe to you is, what will make you a believer this year?
I knew.
What has to happen, whether it's week 1, whether it's through the entire season, for you to believe, to be a Bo-Sean?
Yep. We need Bo-Sean.
Yeah, I love it. And I was going to say that. I was like, yeah, they love me now until I start talking about Bo. And I didn't have.
Should we just end the interview now, No Sean?
I know. But no, even last year, like I might have had some critical thoughts here and there about Bo, but at the end of the day, I definitely believed in Bo, believed that he can go out there and get the job done. And I just wanted to see him continue that each and every week with the consistency. That's the biggest thing. It was more, how consistent can the guy be throughout the whole year? And a great first year, good first year for a rook. I do want to stop hearing young rookie. Okay, he's not a young rookie. All right, he was a rookie. You know what I'm saying? And that's about it. So you would expect that this year, he would come into the game and make a lot of improvements, and hope that does happen. They put some good pieces around him right now, so hopefully he could take advantage of just the pieces around him and make a jump. And it doesn't have to be a big jump, just little small things, that we might have noticed last year, like scrambling maybe when you didn't have to. It was little small stuff that he looked comfortable in some of these camps, right? And he'll continue to build on those stepping stones and keep on building up and getting better, man. So I am very, very excited to see what the second year is like, because he's getting more comfortable, number one. But then number two, these other teams have film as well, and they're going to come up with different ways to slow him down, especially with his legs, and make him use his arm a lot more, and not just on short passes. We need the intermediate, we need the long runs, we need all that, right? And so it's going to be exciting to see if he can make that jump. It just continued on doing what he did last year, especially as far as like protecting the ball. I think Bo did a really good job last year of protecting the ball, not, putting it in the other team's hands, right? So just keep those things going and then make those little small jumps, and we'll see where we are. The biggest thing that benefits Bo right now, though, is that defense again, especially how good they played last year. Pretty much all of them are coming back, and then the additions that they made, it's going to be – they're going to do some great things on that other side of the ball. Never had any doubt on the other side of the ball. So we'll see if Bo can just, continue what he's doing. I believe a little something.
Okay.
But he has to show me. That's it.
Okay, you're getting excited. You're starting to see the light, No Sean. I love it, man. This was too cool. Shout out to you here for setting this up, and No Sean, shout out to you for spending some time with us today. It is so cool, and we would love to catch up with you often. Especially no one can break these running backs down better than you can. So we've absolutely loved the insight today. And man, you made my day, No Sean, by jumping on. Thank you.
Thank you, fellas, man. It was good seeing you guys. And yeah, let's do it again for sure.
Boom.
All right, we'll talk soon.
I love it. The one and only No Sean Moreno. That was dope.
Mm-hmm. It was great. Great job you here. And great insight from No Sean.
Yeah, really. Perfect person to have right now, talking about the running backs.
Only one other Broncos running back has ever worn number 27.
Other than J.K. Dobbins.
Yes. Also, there's a fullback, Jeremy Stewart, for 6 games in 2014.
That's
I don't count him.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
at all.
1963 to 1967, Charlie Mitchell.
Ah,
Only other Broncos
Old
running back
Chuck
ever
Mitchell.
to wear 27. Yep. Had almost 1,600 rushing yards in 1964.
damn.
How many?
Almost 600.
Oh,
Oh, I thought you said 1,600.
Did I? I didn't mean
I
to.
could have heard that.
No. I didn't mean to.
What did Noshawn do in his rookie year?
That's a good question.
You have a laptop.
Only 947 yards. Shouldn't say only. That's
Yeah,
more than
that's-
any Broncos had in a long time. But then, like, when you have 1,000-yard seasons, you're like, oh, was this one of the big ones?
Okay.
Yeah, but if you told me that RJ would go for 947 this year, I would take it right now.
7 touchdowns, 200 receiving yards, couple more receiving touchdowns.
A week ago,
Third in offense rookie of the year voting.
2 weeks ago, if I would have said 947 yards for RJ Harvey rushing,
Yeah.
would you have taken it?
No,
Yeah, I
because
agree.
I didn't trust the supporting cast as much to make up for, you're hoping to get a lot more than that out of your running game. But now with J.K. Dobbins, like, you could imagine 940 from RJ and 800 from J.K. So that,
We might have just had another guest call in. So before we get to the guest, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Raising Cane's, where if you're taking a road trip this summer, you got to make sure that Raising Cane's is part of your road trip, because Raising Cane's is the best fuel that you can have for yourself and your family on a road trip. If you are out on the roads, go to raisingcanes.com, or you can order on the Canes mobile app. So you don't even have to wait. It can just be a little pit stop, get your food, and then you're back on the road right there. And Raising Canes is going to give everyone in your family something delicious. Of course, they've got their famous chicken fingers, which are hand battered and cooked to order. Plus, they've got the crinkle cut fries, plus the coleslaw, plus the Canes sauce, which is made in store, and it is so delicious. And I'm hungry right now, so I might be making a stop at Raising Cane's on my way home. And if you want to order ahead, go to raisingcanes.com or go to the Canes mobile app. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Also, shout out to Toyota. Recently got my Toyota a little bath, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
And man, it just looks so good.
Yep.
Just looks so good. I mean, my model's now a few years old. It still looks sleek, sharp,
Does.
new, fresh. And it's so reliable that it's you almost take it for granted. I forget the days of my last car where when I started her, I didn't know what was going to happen from there. Sometimes you turn the key, you don't know what's going to happen. At one point in my old car, I had to get it moving before it would start.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So I had to park in very strategic locations. So
That is-
my Toyota
And it
never
wasn't
had a
a
problem
Toyota.
like that. No,
Yes.
it was not a Toyota. It was a competitor of Toyota. But now I have my Toyota, and I will honestly never go back. For the rest of my life, my daily driving car will be a Toyota. I can promise you that. And if you want to get into the Toyota family, you can visit a Front Range Toyota store at a location near you, including AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corbin Toyota and Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places.
Okay, do you guys know what's going on right now?
No.
With a mystery call? I don't either. I didn't know there was one.
Is it an accident?
Oh, okay,
that's
okay.
what I
There we
thought.
go. Had me sweating a little bit. I was gonna guess it was you here calling in.
If I had to guess someone, I would
Yeah.
have guessed that too. Or it was a double mystery guess, and then Todd actually showed up.
that
Wow.
would be
That'd
would
be
have
a
been
twist.
something. So okay.
Someone tell Todd that Sean Payton's in Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah.
He's
has
not
no idea.
watching YouTube.
He's not.
No.
He can sneak on here without Sean noticing.
Yes.
He definitely could. And also, like, come on, Todd. Especially right now, it's gonna be curveballs or not curveballs. It's gonna be softballs. We're not gonna drill you about the first play, how it's gonna be a touchdown.
Well, actually, I
pass
was going to
from
give
Bo
him
Nix to
our
Evan
roster prediction from yesterday. And
Oh, wow.
Make
Tell
sure
us
we
what's
were right
wrong.
about the
There's some
ILCITY.
edits. Yeah.
And we did have both of those guys making it. Lavelle Bailey, Andrew Sanders. He
Oh, yeah.
snuck in at the very end.
No tough choices for Todd.
No tough
yeah,
choices.
no, easy stuff for him. I will say, when it comes to Todd, I watched him specifically this final practice we were at mandatory minicamp. It's so many smiles. It seems like he is just loving being a coach, which is great to see because it's a draining job. but I guess maybe actually not really in the offseason. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just looking through. So Noshawn was third in the Offensive Rookie of the Year voting in 2009. All these names are crazy. So he tied with Jeremy Maclin and Mike Wallace.
Oh, Jeremy Maclin was so sick in college.
He was so sick. So the winner was Percy Harvin, also sick. Second place was Michael Oher.
Oh,
As
wow.
crazy as that sounds for
Since
a
when
tackle.
do
Shout out-
offensive linemen get credit in these races?
Well,
15 years ago.
When they have, no, I think it's when you have a movie made about you that really
Yeah.
boosts you up.
do
Defensive.
you think the movie out when he was a rookie?
I don't know. The book, I doubt it.
I think the part of him being drafted was the real clip of him being drafted.
So
I think it came out that summer. That's total guess.
Okay.
I think it came out the summer before.
Huh.
Wait, can you look it up?
Yes.
The Blind Side.
Yes. So real quick though.
Which now it seems like there's a lot of bad things behind the scenes with that, unfortunately,
really
which
spoiled the
feel good
feel-good
story.
story. Yeah.
So it was
What's
2000.
crazy is because it turned out that like it was everything the feel good story felt good
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's not like those other people who
Right,
it's
right,
like,
No, it
oh,
is.
that feels nice.
came
Glad
out
to hear that. It's like,
November of his rookie year.
I think he got the boost.
November. Okay, yeah, that's
That's
right.
also
When
right when
voting.
he
Really good. So defensive rookie of the year, Brian Cushing won, who is also dope.
Yep. Wow.
Behind him, Jarris Bird, Clay Matthews, and Brian Arakpo, who I had never
What
thought.
a rookie class.
I know.
Wow.
MVP was Peyton Manning, with Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, and Brett Favre. Vikings Brett Favre behind him. Oh wow! Like to me, this is like the elite era of football.
Yeah, it's very
Like all these
nostalgic.
names. Elvis Dumerville finished third in Defensive Player of the Year, in front of Darren Sharper and Jared Allen.
I want to say people were talking about the Broncos picking Arakpo instead of Noshawn. I feel like that was like a conversation back
yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wait, so what did Percy Harvin do his rookie year?
He
Everything.
But
true.
only a little bit of everything.
135 rushing yards, 790 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns.
Give me no, Sean.
Yeah,
More yards.
sure. Yeah.
How many touchdowns did Noshawn have?
Noshawn
But it was more
had
than 6.
9.
Boom.
I think
I'm
that
telling you.
The return probably gave him a little boost
I
too.
think that Percy Harvin is responsible for my personal Broncos
Personal.
fan rock bottom. Like,
And probably many Broncos fans rock bottom. Yeah.
like we go into halftime, we're getting our absolute asses beat, and I'm just like, it's okay. Just go out there, get a stop, get the ball back, and score. And it's a new game. We can score at will. We've shown it all year. And then Percy Harvin takes it to the crib, and it's just like, oh, we have no chance of winning this football game. Now we have to watch for 2 hours to just see us continue to get our faces
Yep.
beat in.
That is exactly what my mind was going through at that exact time, too. Everyone else is melting down at halftime, and I'm just like, you know what? A stop here, and it's okay.
Stop and score.
And within 10 seconds, that was ruined.
Yep.
Whole family's just excited about Bruno Mars.
Oh,
It's like, oh,
Oh,
like, oh, this is a great halftime show. It's like, I don't care.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yep.
Right? That was Bruno Mars. Yeah.
I have no idea.
And then it was Beyonce for Super Bowl 50.
Was it really?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's a really good one. That's
Yeah.
big time. We don't know who this one is, do we?
Or Beyonce was involved. Maybe she wasn't the headliner, but she was there.
Okay. Okay, so shout out to Noshawn. Shout out to Yahir. That was really cool.
Yeah. That was Coldplay, Beyonce, and Bruno Mars.
Oh.
Wow.
For 50?
So then what was...
Yeah.
They
48.
allowed the Broncos
48 was-
allowed Bruno Mars to be back on their.
I mean,
That's
he was.
bad
I think
juju.
it was technically the Coldplay halftime show, but then it turns out that like a
Okay.
third of it also has Beyonce. But yeah, it was Bruno Mars for the other one.
Wow. Yeah, that's
48.
That's crazy.
He
that
was
we
big time.
overcame the Bruno curse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously.
Wow.
Okay, so we are going to do a new series. Shout out to Henry for this idea, where every day for the next 17 days, for the most part, we're going to break down every single game that the Broncos have and kind of look at the other team, see what the other team brings to the table, what changes they've made in the offseason, and then break down, okay, are the Broncos better or is the other team better, by looking at positional breakdowns as well. And this means we get to start with a beatdown. Week 1, the Denver Broncos playing the Tennessee Titans. Henry, you're laughing at
Yeah.
me. Am I too quick to call it a beatdown?
I mean, it's just week 1 in the NFL.
Yep.
It's tough to imagine there will be many beatdowns at all in week 1.
27-0.
Yeah, this is a beatdown.
Okay.
So where do we want to start? Do we want to start with the breakdown or looking at where the Titans are?
I say we pick positions last.
Okay. So let's look at kind of the offseason that the Titans have had, because we know they were the worst team in the NFL last year, but they had the number 1 overall pick. It truly was. Who was loudly in there? The Giants? Because Drew Lock got them out of the number 1 pick.
Yep. Who are the other loud, bad teams?
The Browns?
Yeah, Browns are always bad and loud.
I'm honestly trying to think, okay, who is connected with Shador the most? Like, because
Giants, Browns.
Giants were bad and
Titans, Saints. The Saints were pretty bad.
Yeah.
Didn't Daniel Jones have 4 picks in a preseason game? I think he did.
Wow.
That's how you start bad loud.
That's really bad.
Yeah.
But somehow the Titans were just there. Will Levis was like making new memes every week. I think they eventually benched him.
For who?
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph. He was their backup.
Yes.
Now he's back in Pittsburgh. And apparently he's furious that the team signed Aaron Rodgers. It's like, dude, have you been living under a rock?
Bro, you are terrible.
Yeah, but bad enough to be a starting quarterback at some point for a team that got the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
So let's look at the offseason moves that they've made. Obviously, the big one, and the one that's going to have all the attention on this game, not just from the Broncos' perspective and the Titans' perspective, but a national perspective, is the number 1 pick, Cam Ward. Will he be the starter? But they've also made some other moves, including bringing over 2 former Broncos in Draymond Jones and Cody Barton.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
they lost almost nothing. They just had a bunch of salary cap space.
but losing things would have been good for them.
Potentially.
That's true.
Potentially.
Get that stink off you.
Yeah.
But then they just spent a bunch of money in the trenches, which seems like a good thing to do. Like, you give $20 million a year to a left tackle. You give big money to a guard. With a rookie quarterback.
Did they overpay for those quite a bit?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Have to have.
Could we bring that graphic back up?
Henry, you are kind of saying calm down on the blowout stuff. You kind of quiet. Is it fair to say you quietly like what the Titans have done this offseason for being a terrible team?
Yeah, I mean, they probably, I guess I was never a big Cam Ward believer. I would have gone Shador Sanders there. It turns out he's a 5th-round pick, so I might have been wrong, but who knows. But the idea of like building in the trenches seems like the absolute right thing to do, especially when they already had like a couple pieces. It's like your defensive line, you're going to have 5 guys out there: Arden Key, Draymond Jones, Jeffrey Simmons, Sebastian Joseph Day, and Tavondre Sweat. Like, that's a really solid defensive line. Offensive line with Dan Moore, who they paid, Peter Skoronski, who was a 1st-round pick a couple years ago, now playing guard, Lloyd Cushenberry, our old friend, pay Kevin Zeitler, bring him over from the Lions, and then J.C. Latham, last year's 1st-round pick at right tackle. Like, those, in theory, should get them back to what they were a few years ago in the trenches. It's just whether they have the juice to actually do anything with it.
So as much as we might want to see R.J. Harvey and J.K. Dobbins showcased in Game 1 a lot in the running game, I think people are going to be fine when Bo Nix goes out and throws for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. And the ground game only gets 86 yards because, as Henry, you kind of just set it up there, like, it is going to be tougher to run the ball on them than throw the ball, but the Broncos are going to be able to throw the ball. And at home, week 1, you give this template to Sean Payton, he's not going to say we have to be balanced. He's going to say, oh, I'm going to go put Bo Nix's name out there as the guy his sophomore season.
Yeah, but again, the weird part about that, though, is just that teams don't run as much, or they run more early in the season. So I just pulled up the neutral pass rates from last year. So, like, game is still competitive, only 1st and 2nd down. You're not being like forced to run or pass in any sort of way. Week 1, teams pass the ball 44% of the time in neutral situations, then 47, 48, 48, 49, 50, 50, and eventually get to the end. And by the end of the year, teams are passing 54% of the time.
It's because everyone wants to have a running game. So everyone thinks they can have a running game early in the season, and then as the season goes on, they start to realize that they can't run the ball and they throw it more.
And they also, like since teams don't really play the preseason anymore, like some people say the first month of the season is really the preseason.
Yeah.
And so if you go out there with all these passing plays that might not be totally worked out yet, like there's just a little bit more nuance there. And maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's not that there's more nuance in the passing game. It's just that if you're failing in the running game, it's like a spectrum. Where it's like, oh, we had the chance to have a 10-yard run here. This guy screwed up, so it's 5 yards, or it's 3 yards, or it's 1 yard. Whereas if one guy screws up and now all of a sudden it's a sack, or it's an incomplete, or it's a complete, it's more binary. But for whatever reason, teams run the ball more in the beginning of the year. And I don't know, it's interesting.
I will say narratives are also written early in the year.
True.
So if you want to go and make your quarterback an MVP candidate, then you have them throw for 4 touchdowns in week 1. You know, I remember Travis Hunter he was kind of like a dark horse Heisman candidate that wasn't really being talked about. I think he was something like 20-1 or something, or maybe even 60-1, something like that, something crazy early on in the season. And then he goes and scores 3 touchdowns in week 1, and everyone's like, oh,
Yep.
this guy's, a Heisman candidate.
And that's what I think Sean is going to have in the back of his mind, too, of doing that with Bo. And I know Bo Nix isn't Drew Brees yet, but Sean Payton might think so. In 8 of Drew Brees' 14 seasons with the Saints, in week 1, he threw for 40 or more times, including a 52-time attempt game. He only completed 24 of those passes, but threw for 339 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He has...
Didn't he match Peyton's 7?
6.
Okay.
6 touchdowns, and that was week 1. He threw for 76% completion, 358 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. That was against the Detroit Lions. That makes a lot of sense.
It does. What year?
They won 45-27. That was 2009. Speak of the devil.
So those were some bad Lions.
They certainly were. He threw for 400 yards in week 1. 3 times with Sean Payton. That is insane. Threw for 300 yards with Sean. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. He threw for 300 yards 10 of his 14 years.
Wow.
In week 1 with Sean.
And I think that's just Sean kind of going to what he can count on. You know, he knows Drew's going to be prepared and ready to go.
Yeah.
And so he's just like, okay, we're leaning on Drew Brees. Like, what a concept. You know, week 1, we're leaning heavily on Drew Brees, and then, we'll let everyone else kind of ease their way in.
Yeah.
I think that's how he's going to feel about Bo, though.
I hope so. And the thing about Bo is that he's at his best when you put him out there like shotgun empty formations and let him just play point guard. Like, I think he's good at like the play action stuff too, but if you were just picking one situation, you want shotgun, you want everything spread out. Like maybe there's a running back in the backfield so you can threaten some read options, like threaten a little bit of a run. But for the most part, you just want to spread the defense out and let them pick it apart. And I think against this team, a team that, good in the trenches, doesn't necessarily have any stud pass rushers. And the one guy is Jeffrey Simmons, who is coming up the middle, so you can just escape. But I think that would work pretty well.
I already have my week 1 bet lined up. Broncos -7.5. Is that what it's still at right now? Did it move to 8? Somewhere right around there. Whatever it is, I'm taking that. Parlayed with Bo Nix, 300 plus passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns.
I love it. That's basically how I made all of my money betting on the NFL last year. Was I just called it the Bo Lever parlay, and I would just bet Bo's stats as high as the betting apps would let me.
Yep.
And parlay them in like 3 different times it hit.
Yep.
Because every time the Broncos won, it was in a blowout. And
Right.
It's like betting a little Jordan Humphrey touchdown.
Yeah.
It's like you hit it a few times and it's going to be...
It's gonna
covers
pay for
everything.
itself. Yeah.
Man, I love that. Love seeing who they've added, who they have got rid of. Do you guys think Cam Ward will be the week 1 starter? Mm-hmm. I do too.
I think he will, and I think that will be a bad decision on the part of the Titans front office and coaching staff.
Still 7.5, and so because it started at 7, right?
Yeah.
And so that's when they were tied for the biggest favorite. But now they are solo biggest favorite because the Eagles are 7-point even favorites over the Cowboys, and the Commanders are 7-point favorites over the Giants.
To me, I don't know what the Titans' schedule looks like week 2 and beyond, but it's just such an easy layup for them to be like, oh, we want to get him his first start at home against an easy team or whatever. They don't have to actually say that out loud, but fans I think would understand it. Whereas it's just like you're going to throw him into the fire against the best defense in the NFL on the road in week 1.
And literally against the best pass rush.
Against the best fans in the NFL too.
I agree. I wouldn't, but I think they will. So I agree with you on both points.
I think they will too, and I think that he's going to go like 13 of 29 with 2 picks and no touchdowns.
And, hit 11 times and 6 sacks, and it's just like you see him walking off the field in the fourth quarter just looking completely defeated, and he hasn't even finished his first game in the NFL.
People that aren't big college football fans won't know this, but like Cam Ward last year got kind of like treated like a hero in a lot of games because he played really great in the fourth quarter. But a lot of times he was digging Miami out of holes that he dug himself.
Yes.
It was like, he threw a cross-body interception in the first quarter that went back for 6, and they were against the 8 ball. And then, at the end of the game, he's making incredible plays, which he's very capable of. That's why he's the number 1 overall pick. But my point being, he's not going to be able to dig himself out of those holes as a rookie in the NFL.
Nope.
Not at all. There's going to be some crucial mistakes.
Yeah.
Nick Bonito pick 6. Wonder what odds you could get on that in week 1.
You would probably get plus 600 on Nick Bonito to get a pick 6 at all during the season.
So then if you narrow it down to 1 out of 17 games.
Yeah, that's plus 10,000.
At least, yeah.
Okay, $1 on it.
So
Sure.
Broncos, the last 2 times they've played week 1 at home, they've lost. Against the Raiders in 2023 and against the Titans in 2020.
Ugh.
Before that, they had won
It's a hot pocket game.
It is.
Before that, they'd won 7 in a row in week 1 home games. I don't know if there's anything there. But like historically, they were always so good week 1 at home. Because it's always surprisingly hot. So like you have the altitude, but it's always also like
heat,
90 degrees. Like the Broncos sideline winds up being shaded by the second half. The opponents are in the sun the entire game.
Yep.
But these last 2 games, it didn't happen.
Yeah, I make nothing of history. And the crazy thing is Sean Payton's 0-2 in his first week 1 games.
What was the Raiders game? Oh, that was 2 years ago, season opener.
Yeah.
So Sean Payton's first game.
Yes. The
And the
onside
one
kick.
before was Joe Flacco's first game as the starter. No.
No,
That
Broncos.
was Drew Lock.
Yes,
Yes.
Broncos lost the Raiders one. Or
And
whatever
they
week 1
lost
was.
the Titans,
And the
with
Titans.
Drew Lock. That was like the beginning of the Drew Lock year.
Corey Davis had 100 yards. Derrick Henry had 116.
Man, that's crazy.
So it wasn't the Hot Pocket game. The Hot Pocket game was Flacco's first start against the Raiders.
Yes. Exactly. The Hot Pocket game.
And if you know what I'm talking about, you're a true friend of the program.
Yep. Was that actually the first game, not only being the Hot Pocket game, where we did
A post-game show?
post-game show live?
I think so, yep. Off a phone
Yeah.
on Periscope.
Yep, on your couch.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Good times.
crazy. That's awesome. Okay, so let's look at the Titans and do a little comparing between the Broncos and the Titans. So we've got this graphic together, and so we're gonna go through who has the edge: a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, offensive line, run defense, pass rush, and coverage. We're gonna do this for every team the Broncos play this season. Well, let's just start at the top. No debate for me. This is Bo.
Yeah, because I mean, what general consensus was if Bo's in this draft class, he's probably the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Throw in a year of experience,
Yeah.
and it's probably pretty easy.
Yeah, and maybe if they played in week, I don't know, the earliest I would probably say is like week 6.
Yeah.
There's a chance that Cam Ward could come out hot, but there's just no way you could give it to him right now.
Could the Titans even? Like Titans fans?
Would they?
Sure they could, but
Number 1
in
pick.
week 1?
It's
Yeah.
tougher because he's a different number 1 pick. So like last year with Caleb Williams, I would have taken Caleb Williams over half the league's quarterbacks. But with Cam Ward being Cam Ward,
But week 1 would you have?
I would have been wrong, but yeah, I would have.
Okay, that's fair.
So if Titans fans could do it, then yeah.
Okay.
But again, like he's not a Caleb Williams type prospect.
Running back. It's no longer DeMarco Murray. It's no longer Derrick Henry.
Tony Pollard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Had 1,000 yards last year for him, I believe. I could be wrong about that. Yeah, 1,000 yards for him last year.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to give
I
it
think
to
you
them.
have to give it to him.
I would make the case for the Broncos, but I'm outvoted. So
In week 1?
in week 1, yes.
A rookie in week 1?
Yes, J.K. Dobbins at 900 last year. Wow, okay. Didn't expect that one. Wide receiver.
So they've got
That's tough.
Calvin Ridley. They lost Nick Westbrook-Akine, who had like
Yes.
9 touchdowns on 20 catches or something.
Yep.
Wow.
It was insane. It
Efficient.
was all just like 60-yard bombs.
And then
Dang.
added Tyler Lockett.
Oh,
And so then their third receiver is like a competition. So like Traylon Burks,
what a
Van
bust.
Jefferson, Xavier Restrepo, Elika Yomenor, who knows? So Calvin Ridley or Cortland Sutton? I mean, Ridley had 1,000 yards last year, I believe. Sutton is Sutton. Like it's more touchdowns than it is volume.
That's honestly maybe a push between those two. That might be the deal that Corton's looking for. Didn't he get 4 years, 100 million? Wasn't it pretty much
he
that simple?
really?
I think so.
even after
Was
Yeah.
those parlays.
Yeah.
1,000 yards
Maybe
with
it
those
was 3
quarterbacks,
years.
though. And 1,000 yards a year before that, too,
For
for Ridley. And then was hurt the year
I mean,
before.
he is good. It's
1,300 the year before that when he was healthy with a real quarterback.
I don't think he was hurt. I
Matt
think he
Ryan.
was suspended.
Suspended, yes. I think just top tier. I might lean Ridley, but it's close.
Yeah, we'll call that close.
Cool.
Probably Ridley.
Is Lockett? Lockett's got to be number 3 in that group, right? Behind Sutton and Ridley. In front of
Yes.
Mims.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you actually have to give this to the Titans too.
oh,
I think you kinda
guys
do.
are grossing me out.
Well, blame the Broncos for not signing Amari Cooper. Because if the Broncos had Amari Cooper, then all of a sudden you'd say like, yeah, Cooper, Lockett.
But I'd rather have Mims or Devon Vele over Amari Cooper right now. And you might call me crazy for that.
Yeah.
Might be
Yeah,
a little bit
I
of a
would
hot
I think
take.
it's worth it to not bring in
Tyler
Cooper.
Lockett had 600 receiving yards.
What did
last
Marvin
How
year.
many
Mims
did
have?
Marvin Mims have? Like 450.
But Marvin's going in the right direction. Tyler Lockett's going in the wrong direction. 3 years ago, he was a 1,000-yard receiver. Then 2 years ago, he had 894. Then last year, he had
Don't
600.
worry. This is probably the last check mark that the Titans are getting.
Yeah, you guys are stressing me out here. What did actually Marvin Mims have last year? He had 503. Give me a break.
That's less than the number you said before.
yeah,
that's less
but
than
Marvin
Lockett.
finished so much hotter. He is so. I'd take Marvin over Tyler Lockett. Marvin's number 3.
All right, you're
in
getting-
this group
You
right
have-
here. But that's fine. I've been
have what
outvoted.
you'd
So
like, yes.
we will move to the tight end position. Who is the Titans tight end?
They've had a lot of them over the years.
Shigo Okonkwo, who is like the move tight end, which means his numbers will be good, but doesn't really block. Yeah, so he had 479 last year.
Okay, it's not even close.
Okay.
We're going Broncos, right?
Yes.
When you say
Yes,
that,
it
okay,
is.
good.
It
Yeah,
is.
give me Evan Ingram, right
Oh,
there.
we should add head coach to these.
We
I
really
don't know if
should.
that's hard, but
We should add head coach.
Yeah.
Offensive line.
So Okonkwo had more yards last year. Ingram's had more the rest of them.
so offensive line is actually pretty close. I think that the Titans have invested a lot and potentially properly in this line, but they're also there's a huge adjustment period here where they're bringing in new guys on both sides of the line. They're still kind of working in young players. To me, this is Broncos.
Yeah. They have an awesome combination of like freaky young talent with guys who are just proven vets. But week 1, I still go Broncos.
Yep, Broncos as well. Okay, let's go to the defensive side. The run defense. I will give credit to Tennessee Titans run defense here. Gave it to them earlier. I'll stick with that. But the Broncos run defense the Broncos defense is elite. So I would give the slight edge to the Broncos in the run defense.
I do too.
This
Again,
one's
like,
the closest of the defense by a lot.
yes.
But yeah, I think you lean Broncos here.
When you're 3 guys in your 3-4, Jeffrey Simmons, Tavondre Sweat, Sebastian Joseph Day, like that could be the best 3 in the NFL. Draymond Jones as like an outside linebacker, obviously he's way more valuable as a run defender than a pass defender. Like from a run defense
It's
perspective,
moved
it's awesome.
outside, yes.
Which is where they have him.
I don't get why Seattle and now the Titans are doing this with Draymond Jones. That Seattle paid him because he was a dominant
Interior pass.
3-4 defensive end.
The thing was
And
he
then
wasn't dominant. He was always like good.
very good.
They paid him to
Yes,
be
they did.
dominant
They did.
initially.
And I think they regret
Really
that.
quick, we're going to finish out this conversation over on overtime. Go to the DNVR. DNVR.com so we can wrap up this conversation at DNVR.com. If you can't find it, scroll down just a little bit, or at the top of the screen it says live. We're going to round out this conversation. So I just personally don't understand it at all.
Yeah, me either.
It's because he kind of busted on that contract. And so where his value turned out to be best is as like basically an upgraded Dondre Tillman. And you don't get all the pass rush value, which is why his salary got cut in half this year when he got the new deal. But I don't know. I think it's just as good of a use of him.
It's honestly a cautionary tale about just chasing the bag. You end up in the wrong situation and your career value plummets.
Yep. We've seen it time and time again with Broncos and other guys. Okay, let's go to...
So the point, though, was that their linebackers, though, Cody Barton and Otis Reese IV, that's where they lose it. Well, I think that's where the Broncos have like the upgrade on the run defense, where if it's like a neutral across the board on the others, Singleton, Greenlaw is awesome.
Yep. And now pass rush. Broncos have the best pass rush in the NFL. I'm going there. Although, I mean, you do have to be a little worried about their interior guys, but still.
Yeah, Jeffrey Simmons is great. And it should be noted that Jeffrey Simmons is probably going to demand a lot of whatever running back the Broncos have in pass protection.
Yeah.
Which is not something I would want my rookie running back having to do in week one.
JK.
So JK, saddle up.
Yep. And now finally, coverage. You got the defensive player of the year as your cornerback, plus you upgraded in your safety room and your cornerback room. Easy. Coverage goes to the Broncos.
Yep. They've got L'Jarius Sneed, Jarvis Brownlee, Roger McCreary at corner, then Amani Hooker and Xavier Woods at safety. Broncos are better.
I'm realizing now that this is probably going to happen a lot with running back and wide receiver going to other teams. And it's mostly just because it's like the Broncos skill position players are in a similar place to where their pass rushers were last year. It's like a lot of guys who you have hope for but haven't quite done it yet. And it's like, sure, could these guys break out and be way better than we're expecting of them now? Yes. But it's going to be hard to give them the nod over like proven players.
Very, very fair. And you guys just had me sweating after the first three, and two of them were to the Tennessee Titans. But then it all rounds out where the Broncos have 6, the others have 2, and if we add in head coach, because we might do that, it's easily Broncos, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And again, just going back to the running back receiver thing, like we're high on him, but those Mike Clay projections, which aren't perfect, but he at least goes through and ranks everything. He has the Broncos dead last in running backs and receivers, even with J.K. Dobbins. So
that's crazy.
If you lose those, I wonder where are the Titans? Titans running backs, they have what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams worse. So 24th. And the receivers,
we're gonna have to go
about
through these
the same
Mike Clay
spot.
ones because they're fun to do during the summertime, but that just is eye opening.
Yeah.
The worst at both.
Yeah.
Oof. Man, he really thinks the Broncos should have gone receiver in the first round.
Definitely.
Or running back.
That's what I mean. Everyone is going to
running
believe
back,
that.
Yeah.
But think about last year. Like everyone was like, oh, so they've got like Benito and Cooper and like Zach Allen was obviously proven, but there was not a lot of
He wasn't all pro.
hype.
Yeah.
And so
That's a
like
great point.
31st in running backs is the Chiefs. So they have Pacheco and Kareem Hunt edging out RJ Harvey, J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with.
Yeah.
Did Pacheco just fall? I know he was
got
hurt last
hurt,
year,
yeah.
but
And
are
then
they
he was-
just saying he's a 4th-year running back that was hurt, so he's done? Like, I
don't
hope
know.
that's the case, but
Yeah, he was ineffective when he came back. So
Okay.
I'm sure people's feelings on him are low.
sure. And power rankings going into this year, they're low right now. That makes sense. This was a blast, and we got 16 more of these to do, which is awesome. Tomorrow to celebrate Spirit Week. Should we tell them who it is, or should we just have them find out tomorrow on the show?
Let's have him find out.
Let's have them find
Okay.
out. What I will tell you about this person that's joining us, absolute blast. Tomorrow's show is going to be so much fun. It's going to be the 3 of us joined by a special guest. And then we'll break down the Broncos versus the Indianapolis Colts. We'll see you then tomorrow, 11 a.m.
We all silly like the mayor.